It's John after Luke.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Yes. All right. So John 10. John 10 is the core scripture of our ministry. Jesus said, the thief comes but to steal, kill, and destroy. But what did Jesus come to do?
That you might have life and life more abundantly. I had to
Yes. Yes. So that is the principal scripture of our ministry. John 10:11 says, I am the good shepherd. The shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. And so one of the things that I really wanted to elucidate here is the idea of love. And so we need to there's a purpose in me bringing this up. And so we know that our acronym, the acronym LIFE, holds our core values. What's the L?
Life.
No, love.
Love. What's the I?
Introduce
God.
Introduce God. F.
Fellowship.
And E.
Equip.
All right. So everything we do should have those four components. They should have love. They should introduce God. They should have fellowship. They should have equipping. Okay. So today is going to be more of a team meeting rather than a service, but I want to lay down foundation because because I want to prepare us for this next work of service in which we're going to embark. Okay, so love needs to lead this work, and so we need to get on the same page about what love is. Love is explained in John 10:11 when he says, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. All right, so when we think about what is love, this is the scripture that we want to go to. All right, now I'll explain why. First of all, to just kind of relate it to what he's referring to, we want to, when we do something on purpose, there's two components to doing things on purpose: intentionality and intention. Those sound the same, but what I mean by that is that we are doing it for a reason and we are doing it deliberately. Okay? So you could accidentally be doing something without intentionally doing it. And so when we are loving, we want to be able to be intentional in the way that we do those things. So I want to talk about the 5 characteristics of love as relates to what I'm going to do. 5 things that love does according to this scripture, John 11. All right, who's writing? Just come on, just do it, Ray.
Yeah.
It's fine. I gotta. Okay.
All right, so number 1, first thing that love does, love attracts. All right. When you are loving someone right, when you're loving something right, it should attract them. It should draw them closer to you. So when you say like she's an ugly person, like just talking about her personality, some people are just kind of an ugly disposition. A lot of times it's not really talking about an outward thing, because there's some very attractive people who have ugly dispositions. And so, but and it's usually some broken component of love inside that person that causes them to do that. So in the scripture, when he says, I am the good shepherd, in essence, he's saying, I'm the better shepherd. I'm the best shepherd. I'm the best thing for you. And so the second thing that love does, love goes. Love doesn't force someone to come to them. Love says, I will meet you where you are. Okay? And so that's what God said. God knew that in order for us to get to where he needed to be as far as heaven, he needed to come to us first. And so he came down to us as a shepherd. A shepherd, if his sheep left the flock and went astray, it's not good enough for the shepherd just stand there and try to call this sheep by this name that it named it. Sheep are not going to listen all the time. They have to be drawn. And so sometimes the shepherd has to go to get them. So love attracts, love goes. So, and the third thing that love does, love anticipates. So when I say love anticipates, what I mean there is I could pretty much guess what you need or what you want. And so based off of what I think you may need or what you may want, I'll just provide that for you ahead of time. So in love, yes.
It's an A.
It's an A.
What?
ANTIC.
I think y'all know how I read.
And so love anticipates. So when we think about anticipating, the one thing that we have to do is actively pay attention to someone. You can't anticipate someone's move or someone's need without first actively paying attention to what's going on with them. And Christ did what it took for us to have abundant life. And he did that by anticipating our need. So God said, look, they're not going to make it with these rules. Let me give them Christ because this is what they need. Okay? Next thing love does. Okay, so wait a second before we move to the next one. I want to say that love is prophetic. That's not the fourth one, but there's a prophetic nature to love because in prophecy is foretelling and foreknowing. So I can pretty much foretell not just that my child is going to need a certain thing. You understand what I'm saying? And so in that love that I have for my child, I'm going to look ahead to intercede for them or to step in the gap because the child is not capable of providing it all for themselves. And so love, it tracks, love, it goes, love, it anticipates. All right, fourth, love emphasizes. So when I say that love emphasizes, I'm sorry, that's not the word I mean. Love empathizes. Love empathizes. So what is empathy?
Oh, we should know this.
To say, I don't know, I understand what you're going through.
Somewhat, yes.
Because I know sympathy means I know what you're going through, right? Sympathy, I don't know what you're going through, but I feel for you, and they empathize.
Yes, that's sympathy.
And the empathize is, I know what you're going through, and I feel your pain, right?
Kinda, almost. Elijah, what do you want to say? What is empathy?
I can't remember.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Anybody else want to take a jab at what? Trees, you know what empathy is? Can you explain it?
I always get a mix up empathy and sympathy.
Okay, so he just said sympathy says I haven't been through it, but I feel for your situation.
Okay, so empathize is I've been through it, then, right?
Yes, most of the time empathy says I've been through it, but what happens when you hadn't been through it?
You're not sharing like that experience.
You're not able to share because you don't have the experience.
You can only imagine. You can imagine what they're
Yeah.
going through, but you don't know exactly what it feels like to go through it.
So then, when you are empathizing, you have to go through that imagination of what they're going through. That is, in layman's term, putting yourself in their shoes. So empathy trades places.
So give an example.
So an example of empathy says, Jesus said when he was God and when Jesus was in heaven, it's like, I'm putting all these mandates on man to keep these commandments, But I really don't know what flesh feels like. So Jesus empathized with us by putting himself in flesh and putting himself through all the same temptations that we'd have to endure. That was him empathizing with us. Yes, sir.
Didn't you say he? Didn't you say he was bleeding from something or something when he was going through the temptations for 40 days or something?
When he was preparing to go to the cross, he was so anxious and so stressed out, is how we would say it today, that he bled sweat. So he bled from his pore. His sweat blood. I'm sorry, I said it backwards. He sweat blood. Blood, sweat. He sweat blood. He had blood coming from his pores, is the way the Bible theologians describe it.
To the crown, the thorns, or something?
Is no, he wasn't on the cross yet. He was preparing to go to the cross. In actual biologists say that you can do this. Like, we could do this. We could stress ourselves out to the point that we bleed from our pores.
But I imagine, like, these days, we would probably get other sicknesses first.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in my imagination.
We very well. The other thing is, he hadn't eaten or drank for 40 days. You know, he was on a fast. So he was probably severely dehydrated, severely
Wait, but then did he eat at the Last Supper?
malnourished. Yes, and that was his last supper. And then he went for 40 days afterwards.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, so it was a lot. Yes.
Wait, you say you didn't eat or drink? I mean, if you didn't drink, then wouldn't you be dead by then?
He made it. That's all I can say. He made it. So it does to specify. The Bible doesn't say he didn't drink, but he certainly fasted. That's what it says, for 40 days.
Because you would need water, but he was God too. So it's like,
Well, no, he didn't use his God faculties. He was man. He was all man. So he still needed food. So he probably drank, or he might have died. But who knows? So the idea. Let's talk about empathy a little bit more. How do we empathize with one another? Let's say that. Yeah, I'll just leave it that vague. How do we empathize with one another? All of us are in a relationship in this room. Let's use our relationships.
Stanford, I know you're tired when you get off work, but I don't understand because I get more rest than you. I don't know.
that would be sympathy, wouldn't it?
Oh.
Well, you can sympathize with someone and say, I feel sorry that you are so tired. But empathy requires you to connect with them in that fatigue in a deeper level.
Okay, so Stanford, I know you work a lot of hours at work, and I know you're tired, but I understand because sometimes I get tired after a long week too.
Right.
Oh, so you're sharing that.
Yes.
Oh, you're connecting.
That feeling.
The feeling.
Right. So, if I said you're having a baby and I don't know what it's like to have a baby, but I know how it felt when my Achilles tore. And if this pain is anything like that pain, I certainly can empathize with your pain. So you can't completely feel what the other person has gone through, but
Right.
you're deepening your level of sympathy.
You're kind of sharing a similar
Yes.
experience that you've gone through. It may not amount to the same, I don't want to say pain in a sense.
Right. Degree. Mhm.
But yeah, okay, I got you.
Yeah. So love empathizes. When you are attempting to fully love somebody, then you do that on an empathetic level, and you do that by trading places with them. Yes, sir.
So should that be should that be like every day?
Oh yeah. If you want to love every day,
Well, yeah.
yeah.
Mm-mm.
I mean, some days you don't have the strength to empathize,
Right.
and you don't have the strength to love,
Yeah.
and those selfish type of days just happen. But when you are mixing sympathy with that understanding of what that person has gone through, that is getting to their level and really producing a next level of love. All right, last one. Love gives. All right, these are the 5 characteristics of love. The 5 things that love does. So we all know John 3:16. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, and whosoever believes shall not perish but have everlasting life. And so the same thing is here in John 10:11. He said, "I am the good shepherd. I am good because I gave my life for you." And so the purpose, to love on purpose and to love with intentionality means you absolutely have to give. You have to give your kindness. You have to give your service. You have to give your gifts. You have to give your time, your affection, your everything. Okay, so who in here has taken the 5 love languages test ever?
I've taken it before. It's been a
I'm
little
taking
while.
it for a long time ago.
So the 5 love language tests test the way in which you communicate love. Okay, thank you, honey.
Good job.
Thank you.
See
Good job,
what?
man. Okay, so the 5 love languages, as this author puts out there, write those up for me on a separate list, are time, acts of service, gifts, words of affirmation. I'm sorry.
Time, acts of service,
Yes.
gifts. Okay. And then the last one?
Did I put 2 T's up? There's 2 T's.
Just one.
Affirmation.
Which one am I missing?
It's not very good, but
Yes.
I thought that other stuff went away from my.
No, but this is right. Let me share. Can I share this?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Maybe
Latrice.
we can write it.
Okay, Latrice's revelation about
No, it's not revelation.
Latrice's understanding.
I had to look it up because after all the love language, the empathizing.
Okay,
I
you go
always-
ahead and share.
Okay.
It. Yeah.
I always get the 2 mixed up. As much as me and Terrell talk about the empathy and sympathy, and so even though we went through all of that, I'm still like, I still don't get it. Like it's not locking in my head. So, I googled it and just pulled out. Basically, empathy is when you've been there, and then sympathy when you haven't, and then both are feelings concerning other people. Like that's a short way to remember it.
So we got that sympathy. You haven't been there. Empathy.
No, empathy. Empathy. You've been there.
Sympathy you have.
Sympathy. You haven't.
You haven't been
But they're
there.
both concerning.
Other people.
Other people.
Feelings towards them. Yes. So I think that helps.
Yeah, because those things are important to remember.
Yeah. So the last one is touch. So with the 5 love languages, time, touch, words of affirmation, acts of service,
Yes.
and gifts. These are ways in which to communicate love and to receive love. So what I want to do is take some time to have everybody take the test again right now. And the reason, so get your phones out. I'll send you to the website to be able to do that.
Hold on,
Get up,
I have to
boy.
stop.
All right. Thank you, Renice.